One of the most important jobs you're going to have as a project manager is to ensure that your project meets its budget as closely as possible. And one of the powerful features of Project 2007 is that it will help you do the calculations of your budgeted and actual costs automatically. If you assign a rate per hour or per use for each resource that you have in your project, it will use those values to calculate your overall costs. The calculation is a mathematical formula, which is the resource cost times the amount of time or duration you use that particular resource ends up creating your task cost. So it's fairly straightforward. The cost times the duration of the resource used gives you your overall cost. I've opened up the project costs exercise sheet in order for you to follow along with how to assign costs to your resources. In our previous set of movies, we concentrated on putting the resource information in only. Now I've gone back in and added in the standard rates of costs for each of these resources. It's very simple to change the resource cost. You simply select the cell for the resource that you'd like to input the data on, and you type in the cost. So I went and I changed the web designer rate from $30 an hour to $50 an hour. You can also assign overtime costs and a cost per use for any material that you have. If I go down to my web server materials resource type, I could type in a $100 cost per use for the web server. So this is very important that you keep this information up to date. You can add those costs when you identify the resources to save yourself some time. It doesn't have to be a two-step process as we've done in these teachable movies, but you want to make sure that you have the up-to-date rates in place in your resource list so that the application can use that to help you budget for your project. Not only is it important to do when you're planning your project to make sure you have the up-to-date rates, but the ability for a project to work on actual amounts as well helps you determine baselines for your project so that you can use them in the future should you be wanting to bid on similar projects. In our next movie, we're going to explore a little bit more about managing costs in Project 2007.